I think everybody's life is black and white. I mean, it'd be so dreary if it was all grey and one level. I mean, every day something funny happens. And every time you go on a bus or something funny, isn't there? Yesterday I was on a plane, and there was a furious sort of general, ex-general, sitting next to me. And some rather dilapidated sandwiches came round at about 3 o'clock, curling up at the edges, you know, the way they do. And he took against these heavily, and he said to the stewardess, "What is this? What's in here? What is it?" And she lifted up the edge and said, "I think it's pork." Well, I fell out of my chair, you know, and he was white with rage. I don't know, I think things are funny all the time.
Talking about life being happy then, I mean, do you ever feel that you've had more than your share of success? I mean, you never had any training as an actor and you win an Oscar. You then have never had any training as a writer and you sit down and you write a bestseller. I mean, somebody up there is looking after you.
Well, yes. I mean, I don't mean that somebody's looking after me, but often young actors, when they're starting off, say to me, "What do I do?" You know. And I only have one answer. I say, "You must have immense luck." And that's what I've had, huge luck. I mean, I may drop dead as I'm talking to you, but incredible luck. But the greatest luck of all is good health. And I don't think to thank God for good health is asking for trouble. But I've been blessed by that. I mean, as I say, any minute I may glaze over and you have to take me away. But that's the greatest luck of all.
Do you feel very lucky that you were born when you were born?
Yes, I do. Of course I do. But I think, don't you think that every generation thinks the same? I'm sure that the kids now would be absolutely appalled if they had to go through what we went through. I mean, I went through, not what you went through, what I went through. And I think every generation thinks it's terribly lucky. I think this generation is the best. I look at this generation now and think how marvelous to be in a part of that, be a part of that.
Well, you surprised me. I thought you were very cynical about the modern generation.
Not a bit.
There's this piece at the end of your book where you get involved in some hippie party where they're smoking all sorts of drugs and things, and it really makes you feel quite sick.
Well, it did make me quite. I mean, I've been to lots of those parties, of course, and I mean, but don't forget that we're in a drug world, and my friends, my vintage, our drug was alcohol. Of course, we all drank too much. Exactly the same. I'm absolutely sure that, I mean, talking about, if one talks about pot, for instance, that whether it's going to be legalized or not, that if you can imagine that tomorrow alcohol is invented, and that the day after tomorrow we would know everything we now know about it, it would never in a million years be legalized.
But you and was it Tony Curtis or was it Errol Flynn? You had a little fling at some point.
Oh, Errol Flynn and I, we shared a house together, and we drank the stuff as though they were never going to make any more, you know. And I still have a little nip, but if one can control it, I think it's great, like anything. But if one can control any drug, it's great, I suppose, if it helps you.
Going back to
tea is a drug, you know.
Is it?
Hmm.
Are you hooked on that?
Tiny one? No, not particularly. With a little something in it, it's not bad.
That story, of course, is vaguely reminiscent of the time when you were the bellows blower-upper on the school organ. Do you remember that?
Well, I had a strange physical thing went wrong, because men's voices, or boys' voices, change, you know, around whatever it is, 11. And mine changed when I was about 9 for some reason. And I was in the choir, and I was a great alto, I suppose. And I was piping my way through There Is a Green Hill Far Away or something, with a full house in the chapel, when this appalling noise came out of me, this braying like a donkey came out. And the choir, paper-thin discipline, promptly fell apart. And I tried again, this appalling noise went off. So I was removed from the choir as a risk and made to blow the organ, which was great fun, because for bribes, chocolate whirls and milk flakes and things, I could let the air out during the amens, you see, sort of, and this terrible noise came out. So, and then I tried very hard to contain the air. At one point, the Bishop of Ripon was giving us a sermon. So, during the preceding hymn, I'd worked it out that I could keep a lot of air in the bellows and then let it out during his sermon in little trills and squeaks and things, which I thought would keep the school happy. And it was very difficult, and something awful happened. And it all came out at once, and this terrific noise. Anyway, I was caned for lack of wind and overblowing, which is
So you're neither in the choir nor the organ.
No, back in the congregation.